Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, so I'm here to do some jelly printing. Just getting my computer to Facebook so I can watch myself, because that's the only way I know if you're going to be commenting. Yeah, today, actually this isn't the right size. I pulled my 5x7. Here, I'll just do this. I pulled my 5x7 jelly plate, but I've decided I want to work into this journal. So I'm going to grab a bigger one. Okay, here we go. So this is an 8x10. And it's going to be too big for what I'm doing today. That's okay. Come on. And I did, by the way, order in the positioning tools. Come on. So those are on their way. I've already confirmed the order, and they've already emailed me back, and it's all good. So let's see. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah. And let's adjust this so you get a little bit of, oh, you know what I haven't done yet? Turn on the light. Here we go. Nothing like a little glare. Okay. Gonna get this set up to work for me. Okay. So this is me. This is a 8x10, and I'm gonna work into my art journal that I've been doing for a while. I haven't been using texture so much on this one. This is more about just laying down color, so it's a good option for this this journal. And it's also an accordion book, so I think that's kind of fun. All right. It does mean it's a little different how you pick up the print. That's very, very slightly different. And I'll just go ahead and start with, I need some paint. There we go. All right, these paints are my Liquitex Basics. Well, basically anything that's a small tube goes in this tub, so I've got some of my Jane Davenport. But these are the travel sets, or the sets that I sell that come with lots of colors in them. So I sell a 12, a 24, 36, and I believe a 42, 48. Anyway, big sets. And so, you get a nice range. They tend to be more classic colors than trendy colors, but we don't mind. We'll play with that, right? Let's see what happens if I use this cadmium. Let's see, is that a cadmium red light hue? And, it's worth noting I sell all of these in big tubes as well. And, brayer. Okay, let's bring myself into the room a little mentally. I was actually here early and was pretty set up, but I spent some time cleaning off my desk because I'd been using it as a dumping ground, and so I have some space now. I have a multitude of projects that are kind of always in progress. Okay, so this one I'm just going to start by putting down some, what's that called? So that was the cadmium, and I put down some bubble wrap and I picked some of it up. I'm going to let it dry just a little bit, and then I'm going to drop in some of this red. And this one is Algerian Crimson. I can't remember, was it yesterday that I was talking? I was talking to somebody about how purples, you think you're going to mix red and blue and you're going to get purple. Well, it really depends on the red and the blue. And so if you want to write a nice satisfying purple, you really want to use Algerian Crimson and Prussian Blue. Algerian Crimson and Prussian Blue. that gives you the best purple. It just genuinely does. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this down. And because it doesn't cover the whole page, I'm going to pull some deli paper to pick up that extra. Some artists like what they get on their pickup paper better than what they get on their page sometimes. Oh, it looks like I managed to obscure all my, well, some of it. That gives you an idea. Now remember, this paper is like a marker paper, so it's processed in a way that it doesn't bleed. So the paint sort of sits on top of it, and that's only you know, relevant in terms of that the paint's gonna stay a little wet. I haven't worked with a jelly pad this big for a while. So excuse me while I reacquaint myself with the dimensions and how much it takes to get stuff all over it. So I have this mask, and I've had this mask forever. It has always been in my stash. I had it from, I sold this mask, it used to be Tattered Angels, from when I had my store in Santa Monica. Some of you might remember that, some of you might not. So I'm just going to use it right now. It's one of my favorites. I've actually photocopied this several times so that I can keep the pattern. They don't sell it anymore, so I'm really only just, you know, the photocopying is really just to preserve it for myself. So I'm not, as long as I don't sell it, I'm not really violating any copyright laws. If I were to turn around and sell you stencils based on this, it would be. Okay, so a couple things. I'm going to try just same spot as before. I'm just going to try picking some of this up. And because I don't want anything perfect, I'm not going to worry about using that. Ooh, that's fun. I don't know if you see what I got out of that. You see that? Kind of cool. And then I've got to figure out a system on how to do this, because obviously this is a little complicated. Oh, that's fun. I'm kind of working into this backwards now, you can tell. All right, I did what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put these together. Maybe if I can find a paper clip, I'll paper clip them. But there, so far, got a little bit of a, hi Lois, you know, a little process happening there, nothing too intense. Let's see, let's pivot and do something different color-wise. Now, you know, none of this is am I considering sort of final work in the book. I will go back and layer up and do other things with it. So this is just me playing around and seeing what I'm getting without much attachment to the final product. I don't mind either way. It's all just fun and games. And I'm not worrying about going too far to the edge with this one, because I am really just going to start with that. And then actually I'm going to add secondary color. This is the Jane Davenport paints that I like so much. And they're going to mix and make a pretty purple. Very intentional. Combination, pull that off. Put that aside. I'm going to do this in two ways. All right. One, I need to get a grip. This seemed like a good idea at the time, but I need to be maybe a little more organized if I'm going to use my accordion book, obviously. Okay. Okay. So, oh, see, I accidentally fixed some of that up already. That's okay. That's really what I want. It's just to pick up bits of that. And there. So this is what I've kind of got going so far. So you can see at this point, I'm not thinking about getting a print as such as just sort of creating a background and pulling up bits for that background. And so it's not as well planned and thought out, and it's a little messier and it's a little trickier, but I'm having fun, believe it or not. I'm enjoying the mess. There we go. And you know what? Because I'm being kind of slapdash about it, I'm not as in control, obviously, as in control of the results. And so I'm kind of getting what I'm getting. And you know, that was kind of interesting there. Now, another thing I could be doing, maybe I will switch to the smaller one for this. I could be using the jelly plate, instead of trying to put my paper down on top of it, I could use the jelly plate in a way that I, more like a stamp, like I did last week. So maybe I will do that. Ooh, see? I kind of like that. Which means that instead of me picking up the paper all the time, which is kind of what I'm struggling with right now, I would instead use a smaller one that I will use more like a stamp. And so I'm going to mount it on one of the plastic things that come with it. And so now I'm going to use my jelly plate more like, more traditionally. Let's just start like this. There's that blue. The blue's, it looks like maybe a little old, a little grungy. Ooh, that was a nice clean stencil, so I got a nice clean impression. So this is what I mean about using it more as a stamp. So I'm just gonna take the jelly plate and put it down on top of the book instead of the other way around. And that gives me a lot more control, and obviously not nearly as frustrating. Let's see. I'm gonna get a piece of paper to act as a cleaning board. Clean off my... And I've got some paint still there, so I'm going to see about picking that up with a different color. See what happens if I use a nice red, yellow I mean. So the goal is to spread this out without accidentally picking up the image. Let's see, my sprayer wasn't moving there for a second. So I just want to create a little tacky surface between what is now a decal, that image, and, oh, that's right, I was going to do this. Okay, so it worked okay, but definitely picked up the yellow. Didn't really pick up that ghost print. So that ghost print is still there. You can see it. I'm going to use this white and see if I can't pick that up. It might have been because I did it over a bunch of other painting as well. So let's do it again. See if I can't get something a little more satisfying. There, that got most of it off. So remember, I'm working in my accordion book journal that I'll be working in tomorrow as well. So that's kind of what I'm working in right now. I got a little I guess, tired of the size that I was working in before and wanted to do something. Also, I was using a lot of texture, which I love. Don't get me wrong. The texture thing is really important to me. But I was also feeling like I wanted to do something a little different. So at this point, I've got, colors left over on my brayer, colors left over on the plate. So I'm getting some mixing in there, which I like. I'm gonna throw this down like this. Roll it down a little bit. Come in with another color. See if I can't pick this up. Again, using this as a stamp. So the print and the ghost print. So, my goal right now is just to fill all of this with color. So I'm gonna reset this a little bit because it wasn't very well. So I'm just gonna keep going. Just adding more color and with some texture from the stencils. Like this pink, Jane Davenport, some of her mermaid colors. And this I've been using a lot, so I'm actually going to turn this way and pick it up a little bit. I'm going to roll another color down on top, see what happens. That's a lot of paint. I probably overdid it on this one. Do not swear, do not swear. All right, so I don't know if you can see what's happening there. I love it when the brayer picks up the pattern of the paint. So, see if I can't get some of that off. Okay, so now I have this. Now, the thing is, when I do it this way, though, is that it's going to be, ignore the person behind the curtain there making all that noise. The numbers are going to be backwards because I've done it the wrong way. If I thought about it, I would have done it the other way. Whew, that is... So, it is backwards. You're right, I should have done it backwards, Lois. Exactly my words. So I'm just going to pick this up actually with a piece of paper because I like the color and I like its graphicness. Let's see what happens when I pick it up. It'll be backwards, that won't change anything, but I'm hoping I get something decent out of it. That was too much paint for that first print to do much, so I'm going to do a second pickup and see if I can't get a nice palette cleaning pickup. There we go. There, so ghost print of a ghost print. Too much paint on this one, too much white paint, and then this ghost print is actually what I would want. Of course, it's backwards. We're just going to pretend that we like it anyway. So I don't know. I'll hold it still so it's not blurry. Yeah, okay. So let's see, let's go back to this hot mess. I'm just cleaning off the brayer onto this thing, and I'm just going to leave it like that and see what happens if I just press this down on here. Get a little color there, a little translucent color so it interacts with what's already on the page. So, you know, I have managed to create some you know, a couple pages worth of color on this, even though I was kind of all over the place with it. And yeah, just gonna do this with a quick press of this, and I'm gonna put this here. Nope, I'm gonna do it here, like this. And see, there's some paint that was on there that was left, so I'm just gonna transpose that over here. Sorry, that was wet on the page that I picked up when I did that printing. So I just went ahead and tried to throw it down another spot. So you can see I've got some tiling going on, and a lot of you know, contrasting imagery and colors. And despite me, you know, starting out a little on my back feet because I wasn't being really careful enough, I actually am pretty pleased with where it's gone. Let me just do one thing. Let's see. Here is a cobalt blue. That's not quite what I want. Here's a very dark blue. Let's see what happens if I mix this with a teensy bit of this darker red. That says it's primary. I want the other one. Alzarian. I'm just going to do a little palette mixing right here and see what happens. So I've got those two colors together, and I'm going to smush them. And I'm just getting a nice dark blue. So part of color mixing is also quantities, right? Pick some of that up. There. A little bit of a enamel effect there, and I still have some paint on my page, so I'm going to scroll down to, whoops, I'm going to do a little unintentional printing at this end. And these are just, this is just now the color at the beginning of that, the next page. Let's see, so I have, so I started here, and I have tiled together, let's see, 1, 2, looks like almost 3 spreads just by playing around. And the book ended up falling on the floor. So an accordion book, of course, is this long line of paper attached to a cover. And that's what this is. This is all, it's very long actually. And it's very thin paper, but it's marker paper, so it is made specifically to hold wet mediums without bleeding. So, you know, this is the back, and most of that is bleed, very little of it's bleed through. Almost all of it is because I've rubbed it into something. So you can see that today's almost nothing is bleed through. That page is a little bit, but I put a lot on there. So, you know, on the other side, this is mostly brayer work that I've done here. And then now you've got the Geli Printing pages, which I will pull, you know, out to let dry. Whoop. Says my video's finished. Not the case. So yeah, so you know, there's a lot to be said for working in a book that's continuous like this, that doesn't have concrete end points. I mean, this does, because I can fold the pages in, but it also, you know, let's see, I have to find natural breaks. So, you know, it also can be pulled straight like this and allows you to sort of continuously work in it, which is a different way of conceptualizing some of this stuff. So I hope you can see that with the transitions from each page and how they work with each other. And that maybe that piques your interest, because it is, you know, in terms of, it's literally a continuum, and it sort of can change how you approach things. For one thing, you might not think quite so concretely. You know, when I started out, this was kind of a hot mess. It is a hot mess, but like, you know, I filled in those parts by stamping, because I used the Geli plate today as a stamp, stamping over spots that didn't have color, and so I got a lot of this interaction just by doing that. And I had to sort of, you know, remove some of the planning because this was being tricky to work with, and so I ended up with some stuff happening just organically because of my inability to control the surface, which, you know, I like. It's got its own personality because of it. And oh, that's a good question, Lois. That is kind of my plan, to do the other side as well, so that it's just one big book of color with all of this, with all these different moods and techniques in it. So yeah, that's it for today for Geli printing. I hope that inspires you to pull out your Geli printing yourself. You know, it didn't take me very long. You can use your Geli plate however you want. You can pick it up and use it as a stamp, or you can use it as a plate. You know, you don't have to make it as hard on yourself as I did with my accordion book. If you have a couple bold clips, you can clip the two sides together so that they don't unravel while you're trying to work with them. That's probably what I should have done ahead of time. In fact, that's probably what I'll do tomorrow when I work in it for my art journaling. But yeah, I just wanted to show you how, you know, we don't have to work in concrete prints. You can work into books, into journals, and create backgrounds directly that way. So hope you're inspired, and I sell everything you saw me work with today in the shop. So if you're like, oh, I don't have a Geli plate that size, I don't have a brayer, I don't have that paint, come on down, I've got it for you. All right, take care, everyone.